Hello, Steve White, Trick Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, I want to talk about the Gold Key issue. A lot of Star Trek collectors, comic collectors, are familiar with this issue. Now, once upon a time, there was a wonderful comic produced by Gold Key, based on Star Trek. I think they started in '68 and ran through to like 78 or 79, right before Star Trek the Motion Picture. Now, unfortunately, these have not aged well, of course, like a lot of old comics, the yellowing and the fading, and they were collected initially in Star Trek logs where they had 8 issues per volume. They did 4 volumes, but they didn't finish. So these were the first ones that were done. I did have one of them, and the paper's exactly the same, and the printing is exactly the same. They look just like the comics, the individual comics. They mostly had painted covers. Some of the early ones had some really nice photo covers. But yeah, so they originally released them in those logs, but they also did annuals where they reprinted them. But at least when they reprinted them here, they usually had much better printing. The quality is much better, and if you can get your hand on these, it's good. But they only printed out 1 or 2 per volume, so there's only about 10 or 20 issues that were reprinted. But eventually, a company called Checker did 5 volumes. Apparently they did a 6th volume that was never released, but I think they made some like sample ones to give to distributors or something, or I don't know. But I have seen indications that it exists, but I don't know if there's actually any of it out there. But they did 5 volumes. They reprinted 8 issues per volume, just like the logs. So basically the first 4 volumes were exactly the same as the first 4 logs, and they did 1 more. So we got all those ones that we already had, but reprinted with better quality paper, although the quality of the actual image wasn't great. Some look good, some look bad. Yeah, so that was one I actually was looking through. Actually, I can do a comparison of the page because it's the same issue. Where's that one? So they first beamed down. Where is it? There it is. So as you can see, the quality difference there with the printing and everything. So yeah, so they weren't the best quality, but they were collecting them all. But then they stopped at 5. I think this was the housing financial crisis, that whole thing in like 2008, 9, something like that. That put them out of business, or at least stopped them finishing off the series. So I had the first 5. And the first 3 had some really nice covers. Like the first one was yellow and black and pictures of the Enterprise and the crew. And the second one was, I think, blue. And the third one was red with black and the Enterprise. And they look really great. By the time they get to the 4th one, they kind of gave up. And then the 5th one, they really gave up. So it was a bit disappointing. But the quality was all the same, but they didn't finish. And there was apparently a 6th one that was created, but it wasn't actually published. Then IDW came out and they started doing their Gold Key archives. Now, they did hardcover versions, and they did 2 things different. One, they actually did recolor the comics. So instead of having, and that's, oh wow, it's the same comic again. I didn't plan that. I've got the same issue again, so I can do a direct comparison so you can see the difference between those pages. We're not necessarily going to pull that one out, but that's the page I looked at before. And they look amazing. They look great. I don't know where they got the original artwork, but they either remastered them really well or they got the original art and just recolored it. But it looks great. They did 6 issues a volume though. So I got 5 of these, but I ended up with like 10 issues less than I got with the first 5 volumes of these. And I sold all these because I thought if they've spent the money to recolor these volumes, these comics, they're going to release them all. And then they released the graphic novel collection. I thought, oh no, they're hardcover graphic novels. Are they going to compete with this, or are they going to include them? Are they going to have the last couple of volumes of this be part of that collection? And what they ended up doing was they ended up putting single issues in with each volume of other stories and trades. So I thought, okay, that's one way to avoid the issue of, you know, producing the same product, which is basically a hardcover reprint of the comics. But they didn't release volume 6, 7, 8, how many they needed to do to finish it. And when they included the issues were not the remastered ones. They were just really poor quality ones. Basically, I think they're worse quality than the Checker ones. And you just got one per volume. So, although you kind of actually remove them from the back if you try and make them into individual comics, which I've done for about 10 of them. But they're all old ones that I now have in the volumes. But yeah, so that's the situation. Now, I do have there was a Star Trek comic collection that had them all in PDF form. And I think there's a separate Gold Key collection which has, they're literally scans for the comic collection. I don't know about the Gold Key collection if they're any better quality, but yeah, someone was selling a while ago the last 10 or so issues that you would need, because I think this volume 5 goes up to issue, did they say 43, and there were 61. So that's like 17 or 18 issues that weren't reprinted. So that would be like 3 volumes or something. So yep. So that's the mess that we're in now. As if you're a collector of these comics. So yeah. So you have the first, I don't know, what is it? 8, 6, 6, 12, 24. So the first 30 volumes, or 32 because some of them were reprinted, in beautiful, recolored, remastered, high quality gloss paper, hardcover, everything, nice volumes, but really incomplete. And then you have the Gold Key collection, the Key collection ones from Checker, which are just scanned, lightly remastered, touched up, but really not really. That goes up to 43. And you still are 17 short. And then a bunch of random comics from the actual, various annuals that were done between, I think they were done between 75 and 86. I've got 86, 75, 76, 77, I think, so I've got a few of them. But yeah, so that's the mess we find ourselves in as Star Trek Gold Key comic collectors. And the only good thing about this was I got this for free, because I sold the 5 volumes for $10 each. I just sold them to someone. I sold a whole bunch of stuff, and they bought the 5 volumes for $50. I paid $50 to replace this one, and then this one I got for free because it was lost, and I contacted eBay and got a refund, and then they found it and sent it to me. But the case was already done, and I don't know, I don't think the seller actually gets, they still get to keep their money. It's like an insurance thing or whatever, so I got that for free. So it cost me $50 to replace the 2 volumes I needed from the 5 I sold. What I should have done, what I wish I'd done was, after they released these 5, they did a box set, which literally was a box that contained the 5 volumes that I already had, and I'm like, I can't justify buying the 5 comics again just to get the box set, because I didn't have them anymore. I could have bought the box set, and I could have justified it because I'd get the box that I always wanted, and I'd have the 5 volumes again, because the first 3 volumes have really nice covers, and they're just nice to look at and hold. And the idea that I have 4 and 5 in a set of 5 sitting on the shelf, that are going to be sitting on a shelf of other trades, just drives me a little nuts. I really want the other 3, even though space-wise, I can't really afford the space to put them on the shelf. So, yep. I'm going to go. I've been talking for nearly 10 minutes. I originally just wanted to do a little sort of review of this because I just got it in the mail today. So, I mean, it's nice. There's a little bit of information about the comics and some pictures, and you get the cover, of course, and the reprinting. And some of them actually had some extra content that was included in the Star Trek logs that were made specifically just for those volumes. So it wasn't just reprinting the issues. They had a couple little short stories and little like article sort of things. They were reprinted in these volumes. And I don't think they had anything in the back. I mean, that's the back of them. A little bit of information, almost the same content on the back of each one of them. I did scan the ones before I got rid of them, so I do have a scan of the additional pages from the comics that I did sell. And yeah, they're basically the same format, of course. Nice glossy photos. I do wish the one good thing about the IDW ones was the covers or at least that's the same one, almost full page. So yeah, actually do a little comparison of the there. See that some of these aren't that bad when you look at them. You can see a quality difference here, but it's not as drastic as some of the others. And there is an inconsistency through the whole volume. Some look better than others. Some are faded, some are have a lot of residual, like the way they've been scanned hasn't worked. Others have very flat colour, like they've been recolored. It's a mixed bag, and they're both like that. And now I've been talking for over 10 minutes. I'm going to stop. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of the whole gold key collecting drama. And do you think we'll ever get someone releasing all 61 volumes, comics editions?